Hello everyone, Matt here with Convert4. The following video is an instructional video covering file management for SEO. The purpose of utilizing the strategy is to 1. Never lose a file ever again. Create a uniform file naming convention for your entire department. And optimize workflow and time management. I was first introduced to several points of this filing system by Marketo, the email automation and lead management software. And as always, this is the Convert4 stream on digital marketing, building efficient systems and growing websites visibility. If you like it, subscribe on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, or simply connect with me on Facebook at Mathew, spelled with 1 T, Bojerski, Bojerski. So let us get started. I hope you guys can see this okay. Pretty self-explanatory. I'll go through the list of items here, but essentially what you're going to want to do is always start off with the name, the date of the year, then the month, then the date. If you're working internally, you don't have to label this as, the name of the company that you're working with, although it would be easier to search later down the road. But you can use this as maybe a project or a campaign. If you guys are running paid media, you guys are familiar with UTM campaigns, that's a really easy way to do it. If you have different SEO campaigns running out for different types of products, you can interchange client out for that. But the way we have it structured here, just for the sake of simplicity, is we have the name of the client or site that we're working on. And then we have several of these kind of initial categories. But the reason why I started using this file naming system is because there was a time a few years ago, and I was just putting thousands of files into folders, into my desktop, into my documents, reaching through my downloads, going through my Chrome browser downloads, trying to find files. And it was just really irritating me, not being able to immediately find something when I was looking for it. And I started noticing how much time I was spending looking for files instead of working, or looking for files. And occasionally it would happen where I couldn't find the file at all and I had to redo it. Which was a complete nightmare, because some of these files and research and audits we spend tens of hours on, and losing that is it's really painful. So I really wanted to find a solution and did some research, and Marketo talks a lot about this. They have a white paper or something that I downloaded a while back where it suggested starting with the year for file names, and ever since then I started doing that, and it's been a blessing. But some things where this helps, some areas of application where this type of approach helps, and I'll get more into the file structure later, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. If you're sending files through Slack, if you're sending files through email, if you're sending files through whatever email client you're using, or Dropbox, Drive, whatever it is, whatever you're using for a file management or file sharing system, this system that I'm about to show you, you'll always know where everything is at any time. So if someone asks you, hey, did you send this out? Or hey, I didn't get this email, or I didn't get this, I didn't get these changes that you sent over, these change recommendations, or this audit, whatever it is, all you have to do is take the name of the file, because it'll be organized. You'll just have to go into one of your folders. Let's just do on-page SEO changes. Literally rename, copy this file name, and you can just do a quick, simple search. You'll be able to find it. And if you don't know the name of the file, because you know your file naming convention, you can search client on-page SEO changes, and it will pull a list of where, as long as you keep this all in one drive or all in one file location like I have up here, it will pull all of the files with this naming convention, and you don't have to worry about any variations or misspellings or just anything. So that was the biggest difference maker for me. And ever since I implemented this this style, I haven't lost a single file, and I've saved probably tens and tens of hours of time finding things, uploading things, sending things over. My team runs more efficiently because of this. We're all on the same file naming convention, and everything's just very clear and intentional. So I wanted to share this with you guys. If you're familiar with a traditional website naming convention, it sort of runs along the same path, if you can imagine. Whereas instead of, a website URL and different permalinks or different slugs within the permalink, it essentially is broken up by these hyphens. So if I go into, I think I did it in category. Yeah. So let's say we go into content, and inside of content we have, different folders for blog content. We have different folders for news articles. It's pretty simple how you can do this, and I don't know why that didn't copy. Okay. So if we go in here, I'm just going to create a new folder. So we're going to delete the version number. We'll talk about that in a second here, but you would essentially just add in a second path, right? So a subcategory path. So just like that, you keep the entire first part of the naming convention. And let's say we also publish news articles. And news articles and blog articles would follow different SEO procedures, right? Like you don't want to be using the same on-page or the same strategy across news and blog articles just because they behave completely different with Google. Maybe you also have one for service pages, right? Like maybe you're a meal delivery company, and you offer ketogenic meal delivery. Maybe you also offer vegan meal delivery. Maybe you also offer the carnivore diet meal delivery. So those would all go under service pages, and you kind of just keep adding on these sections in your naming convention, and you'd be surprised. I've really tried to stretch this thing to the limit and see if there's an opportunity for it to break or for it to stop working, and it really doesn't. So I'm just, as you guys can tell, I'm pretty obsessed with it. It's been a total game changer for me. Now, when we're talking about adding in images, or a lot of you designers are working with tons and tons of images, or if you're a media buyer, you work with a lot of creative, you would follow this same convention. The only thing that you would change is you would just remove the spaces in between the hyphens. Just because, as you know, if most file types for imagery have underscores put in place instead of spaces, it's just the way the file is named. So just make sure you remove the spaces in between the hyphens, but it can follow the same exact naming convention for your folders and files. So that's that. Let me explain how the version updates work. So we run a lot of our work and processes through templates. Templates based off of strategy. So strategy is customized per client. It's customized and tailored per learning situations that we run into with the client. Some of the things that we do in SEO, we can't replicate across different sites just because of what we're dealing with. So we do a lot of testing, and when we see positive results from that testing, we develop that into a strategy, and then we roll that into the core services rendered for our clients. And with each of those core services rendered, we add them as version numbers, which then attach to the strategy. So we have a strategy built out in paragraphs, or if you can imagine, like a brief summary. I would say no more than 300 to 500 words. I try to summarize as best I can what the strategy is, why we're doing it, what we're predicting to learn from it, kind of like a hypothesis and thesis as to what's going to happen, almost like a predictive statement. and then we put it to test. So that would be one version, so version 1. And if we're testing that same strategy, we add a numeral to this 10th place or 100th place if we get up into the 11th decimal. So if we go into version 1, if we're testing something new on that same strategy, it's just slightly different. Like for an example, let's say we're testing adding tap here to learn more instead of click here to learn more, because on mobile devices you tap, on desktops you click. So that would dignify a 0.1 change. That would be a small variation change. We wouldn't add a whole new. We wouldn't go to version 2.0 just because we're changing a slight text variation in a meta description. What would change a complete version number is if the entire strategy changed. So maybe instead of using the keyword in, so if we were just changing words like the call to action, all call to actions would be under one version number. But let's say we wanted to add 2 keywords instead of 1, and then on our other version number we have changing call to actions. We want a separate version for that, so that would be version 2. And we want that because they're 2 different strategies, so they're different enough. And that's going to be up to you to decide how you're going to do that, but that's how we do it, and that's how we stay organized, and it's been working incredibly well. But that's how the version numbers work. We rarely go up past 10, version 1.10. We rarely get there, just because we typically find what we're looking for within the first few tests, and then we just keep rolling with it and move on to the next thing. Aside from that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you guys need to know about this system. I think that's pretty much it. I wrote down quite a few things here that we roll into our consulting clients' retainers. This is a kind of like a done for you service, where we include, content creation or content creation strategy, internal links, where we fix and optimize the client's internal link structure from their blogs to their PLP pages or blog to blog pages. We do the whole thing. Link building, obviously, incredibly important in SEO. Monthly reporting, weekly status updates. It's where we meet with clients on a weekly basis and discuss basically what we did, what results are we seeing, what's trending in their industry, and maybe what we can uncover that can help them in other paid avenue channels. On-page changes, those are our change suggestions. We audit quite a lot of everything, it seems. And research would include basically any research data. So keyword research, any type of audit, like content audit. Gosh, what else is in here? Like competitor research, technical audit or technical SEO. Things that would fall under there are like internal link audits, backlink audits, full technical analysis, site speed analysis, really anything that kind of involves on the heavier developer end of the spectrum, or if developer resources are needed for the change to be implemented, that would fall under technical SEO. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that this helps you. If you give this a shot, let me know, and let me know how it goes. I'd like to hear some other feedback, or if you see anything that can be improved further, or maybe something within your organization is unique to this system and maybe it doesn't work for you. I would love to know. I'm always interested in seeing the kind of opposing opinions. So that's all I got for today. Hope that helps, guys, and until next time, have a great one.